What's up? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick, and I got an album review for you. We took some time off, and it took us a little bit to get to this album review, but we're getting to you right now. Since I'm the only one up here right now, I get to review Killswitch Engage's new album, Atonement. This came out last Friday on Metal Blade Records, their first album on Metal Blade Records since leaving Roadrunner. These guys have been around since 1999, from Westfield, Mass. They were one of the huge influences on the entire metalcore scene that popped up in the mid-2000s. One of the most influential bands in that entire little subgenre. And, since then they've kind of died down in some popularity, but they've always remained consistent and strong. And this is yet another really good chapter in their discography. Opens up with the lead-off single that was pretty much debuted a while ago, Unleashed, which is an interesting song because it's really one of the only ones that's very breakdown heavy. Very anthemic chorus, giant vocal delivery on the verses, of course, too, by Jesse. He does a marvelous job on this. And this one, like I said, is very different in terms of how the rest of the album goes. It was almost kind of misleading. I was expecting pretty much that straightforward mid-2000s sound that we got all throughout that era. Breakdowns, melodic death metal sort of riffing, powerful leads, big anthemic choruses. You still get a lot of that, but it's not as breakdown savvy, which is interesting. From there, it moves on to The Signal Fire, which welcomes back Howard Jones as a guest spot in vocals, and it's one of the best tracks in the album. Solid bouncing back and forth between harshes and cleans between Jesse and Howard. Really killer, thrashy, high energy song. Very much contrasts the opening song feeling, which is very groove, breakdown driven, and very anthemic. This one just goes right for the fucking throat and just hits you hard as fuck with some of the most memorable riffs and one of the biggest choruses, I think, on the entire album. And this entire album is loaded with huge choruses. That's always been a Killswitch thing. Give you the growls and then give you this massive chorus that you'll want to sing along to at the shows. From there, it moves on to Us Against the World, which has an anthemic quality, definitely a little bit more mid-tempo. Not as memorable as some of the other tracks, but I still think it's a pretty solid track. It has a strong chorus, nice backing lead work behind it to make it really stand out, some good use of dynamics. And then we move on to another one of my favorites, the Crownless King, which brings in Chuck Billy from Testament. I fucking love Testament. And he comes in with predominantly his low growls, which he is still fucking fantastic at that. And once again, this is another up-tempo, very thrashy song. And it's just nasty. It's a nice thrashy breakdown in the middle of it with a nice groove-oriented, very headbangable moment. Really, really loved it. It was kind of like 2007 Reborn again on this one. Like, this felt like old Killswitch Engage, and I really dug it, except I think it ends just a tad too abruptly. Like, there should have been a big fade out to this, because there were just sick riffs all over this. Then it moves on to I'm Broken Too, which this one definitely reeks of the more radio-friendly side of Killswitch Engage, which I like that side. It's definitely not as powerful. So it's almost like a heavy metalcore, almost ballad-ish, like power anthem, but very balladish in terms of the delivery of the vocals and everything. And this is where I start, really noticing the trend on this is overwhelming positivity throughout the lyrics, which is cool. I mean, I don't mind that, but I like seeing it broken up a little bit because there's a lot of heavier moments on this album that really warrant some really nasty delivery in terms of lyrics, like something that is a little bit more spiteful. I know that's not necessarily the thing, but it's just kind of a contrast between how heavy the music can be, and then the lyrics are good, poetic, but they kind of come off as those overly positive Facebook posts that we all run into, and most of us end up scrolling past. Now, another issue I had with this song in particular was it's very short. It's only 2 minutes and 39 seconds, and it just feels kind of incomplete. Like they kind of threw this one together because it comes across as a nice little radio nugget. If they're still shooting for the radio, I imagine they are to some degree, because this album is loaded with tons of accessible songs. Then we move into a couple of heavier songs after that. As Sure as the Sun Will Rise, which is also sort of anthemic and kind of sing-songy, but this one brings in some cool tremolo riffing and even a blast beat here and there and some of the heavier parts, and definitely shows us a little bit more versatility in the writing. So now this one's also a really short one too, but this one feels sadly more complete. It has more moments that are really catchy, and they try to labor those parts. And there's a really good vocal melody that's traded off between Adam and Jesse on this one, and it really works very effectively. Again, the lyrics are a little cheesy, at least in my opinion, but I think the song, all in all, is really good. Then we move into Know Your Enemy, which has this nice tension-building intro. Like, it just comes in with the snares almost sort of making a march, and then this monstrous riff is just played over top of it, and it was like, dude, there we go. This is mosh pit ready right here. And that riff really carries it, too. And then it moves into almost like a Pantera groove metal part, with a nice little crawling riff in there that I thought was exceptionally well done, too. This one I thought was kind of refreshing because it's the only one without a clean chorus on it. You know, not that I have anything against clean choruses, it was just nice to see them sort of break out of the formula, which definitely pervades this entire album. But this one really stood out to me for that reason too, and it was just a nice groovy headbanger just designed to just rip your face off. Solid stuff. So now, you know, the next couple of tracks are really good, but I want to get to one that really stood out to me in a more negative way, unfortunately. I Can't Be the Only One. This one really felt like they were trying to recapture that My Last Serenade or Rose of Sharon sound, and it almost feels like a combination of those two songs. Which is nice, those are two incredible songs. But it feels very happy and upbeat in contrast to how the rest of the album feels. Like, whereas in songs there are moments that feel very happy and upbeat, on a lot of this they still bring a lot of heavy crushing moments. And here, almost the entire song feels very happier, more upbeat, with a very, very tailor-made for radio chorus. And predominantly clean vocals of the entire thing. It makes the song stand out, which is great. But there are some token heavy moments that are just thrown in there, and they feel real jarring, like they contrast the rest of the song. And honestly, I think it would have been a little bit better without those moments in there. Just make it that radio song. I might not still jam that one as much, but I would have appreciated just them going straight for that one without trying to like, oh, well, we have to appease this group too. Now, this album closes on quite possibly one of the best songs too. Bite the Hand That Feeds is pretty much back to the original Killswitch Engage sound, that melodic death metal meets metalcore sound. There's At the Gates and In Flames riffing all over it. A really cool, interesting timed chug on there that I thought was really memorable. It really made the song stand out. And this song just stays on the gas too. I love it. There's only one little breakdown moment, which was really cool, but this song is just trying to stay fast and thrashy. There's some really cool, almost blackened tremolo riffing on top of it, and it closes with this absolutely nasty breakdown, which, like I said, the breakdowns aren't as prevalent on this, but when they use them to great effect, and they make them memorable. And this closing breakdown is just nasty. It has almost more of a deathcore feel. Really enjoyed that one, and that closed out the album really well for me. Now, all in all, I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. I think this is another strong entry into their discography. They pretty much touch on all the hallmarks that are Killswitch Engage, pretty much from every phase of their career. The more heavy metalcore, mellow death centered stuff, and then more the quasi-radio friendly, accessible stuff. The overly positive lyrics kind of wore on me after a while, just because I would have liked to see a change in the feeling of some of this material. But all in all, I think it was really good, and it may not be like a giant leap from their sound before, but they play to their strengths in this one, and they deliver some catchy, memorable songs. And all in all, it's a pretty solid album. So, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe. We do shit like this all the time. Catch you later.